Ladies and gentlemen, our 2015 commencement speakers, Judy Woodruff and Al Hunt.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going first.
Okay.
Thank you. President Murray, we are just blown away by this. President Murray, trustees, faculty, administrators, family, friends, and most of all, the Red Fox class of 2015, it is a thrill for Al and me to be here and to share this glorious moment. Now, let me first acknowledge the person who has led Marist since 1979. I know you heard it from Senator Schumer just a moment ago, but I have to repeat, that's 1979. That was before the internet. It was before any cable news. It was before Ronald Reagan was president and before David Letterman was on television. His run has been every bit as successful. Let's give another special hand to President Dennis Murray. I love commencements because they represent the culmination of all the hard work that you put in and really are about commencing the next phase of your lives, a moment when the possibilities are endless. Savor every bit of it. And now, with this magnificent setting on the banks of the historic Hudson and with some plans to celebrate later, you're probably not clamoring for long-winded speeches from two senior journalists. Well, one senior journalist, anyway. But let me reassure you, one of my main topics this morning is what's good about the news media and why it matters to you. My husband's is what's good about politics and why it matters to you. These may be the two shortest commencement speeches in history. We are truly taken by this institution. Marist's superb reputation, the college rankings, landmarks of excellence like the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Library and Museum in conjunction with IBM, a campus in Florence, Italy. President Murray, may I apply for graduate school? And a talented faculty and enlightened administration all combined to make Marist unique. Let me share with you a little of what I learned from conversations in recent weeks with some of the members of this class about what Marist has meant to them. President Murray has already mentioned a few of them. Jenna Snyder came here from a small high school, what she describes as a pretty sheltered background. She leaves a different person, she says, enriched by the relationships as well as the learning over these last 4 years. I've interacted with people different from me. I've grown more curious. I immerse myself in all the things I'm interested in, like history of the blues. She heads from here to a job in finance in New York City, but she says, I've been a Marist student, not a business student. Maria Garonis from Corona, California, became attracted to Marist from 3,000 miles away. The first member of her family who emigrated from Bolivia to go to college. Her parents, understandably, wanted her to stay out west, but she persevered, and Marist and Maria are better for it. She told me she's been supported by amazing professors who believe in her. I want to say thank you to Maria's parents, wherever you are out there, because she told me, I hear you, there you are. She told me that after working in the music industry, she hopes to be a college professor. Genesis Abreu. As a journalist, there was no way I wouldn't seize on someone with a lovely name like Genesis. She's from the Bronx, was a standout high school student. When she got to Poughkeepsie, it was more challenging, she told me. She found there were a lot of smart kids. She learned, she said, how to ask for help without feeling dumb. Well, you know, it paid off. Genesis will be a Fulbright scholar next year. And then there's Catherine Fiorillo, who says Marist has forced her out of her comfort zone. She's now looking to work in the publishing industry. She wants to write and maybe teach in college. She is graduating after only 2 years at the age of 19. Amazing. Their stories tell us about all of you, about Marist, and they encapsulate the challenges and the opportunities that await each one of you. It is clear how well prepared you are. You have had wonderful academic and personal experiences and influences over the last few years. But I do have some advice. First, don't hesitate to jump into the arena, whatever it may be in your chosen field. You have the privilege of a great college education. Find a way to make the most of it, even if that means you didn't get your first choice for a job. Few people do. And even if it means changing course, give a lot of thought to what you want to do, but if you decide after entering one field you'd rather try something else, go for it. 2, don't be afraid to fail. It is the only way we learn. Winston Churchill, who failed the entrance exam twice for military college, said, "Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm." I was co-anchoring the evening news in an Atlanta TV station while also covering the Georgia State Legislature at the age of 26 when a consultant came in and told the station manager to take me off the air, that I was not up to the job. I was devastated. I thought about quitting. But then I decided to return to focusing all of my efforts on reporting, which after another year and a half landed me a job at a national network, NBC. Years later, after I had been at NBC for a while, had covered the White House, I became intrigued by what was happening in public television, PBS. 2 journalists I admired very much, Robert McNeil and Jim Lehrer, were launching the first hour-long national newscast on a broadcast network. They planned to go in-depth on stories, to be the place for thoughtful coverage of the news. Despite the overwhelmingly negative warnings from colleagues and friends who asked how could I possibly give up what I had, I accepted their offer to be a Washington correspondent. It was one of the best professional decisions I ever made. Don't fear going against the grain. And 3, whatever your plans, stay close to family and friends. Cherish the people in your life. That is what makes life worth living. Find the balance that will let you do the work you love, but also be with the people you love. You won't be able to do it all the time. There'll be cycles when there's more of one, less of the other. Find your sweet spot. Now, to get to my thesis, why the news media matter to you. Many of you I know are skeptical, even cynical about journalism today. There's been a lot of change, much of it unsettling. When I was, it was in a very different way. There was upheaval too when I was in your shoes many, many years ago. I had just been hired by the news director at an ABC TV affiliate in Atlanta to be the newsroom secretary, to answer the phones, clean the film, and keep up the files. I was also scared to death. I had no idea if I would last. I had never reported a story in my life because journalism only appeared as an option as I was just about to finish college. Also back then, TV stations usually had only 1 woman reporter, not 2 or 3. The future of news, especially for a woman, was full of uncertainties. The media today faces a much different, more vexing challenge. Gallup reported last year trust in the mass media is at an all-time low. The business model for news is not encouraging. Newspapers are in decline. The television networks, which used to have celebrated foreign correspondents and bureaus all over the world and the U.S., are a shadow of what they were a generation ago. Cable news networks often are more into ideological warfare than good reporting. And for all the advantages of the digital age and social media, an unfortunate byproduct is that more information is producing a shorter attention span and passive news consumers. A big chunk of the country has gravitated to venues that fortify their prejudice. The good news, though, is that change also offers opportunities. For gifted consumers like you graduates, it's easier to access information than it ever was before. And today there is a lot of good journalism and expanding venues, even in these old-fashioned models. The New York Times, despite the financial challenges it has, remains the gold standard. I confess I was upset when they inexplicably fired their first woman executive editor, Jill Abramson, a fabulous journalist. But on most days, the Times remains the best newspaper in the world, with great investigative pieces like this month's expose on the terrible conditions for immigrant women working in big city nail salons, the result of a year of work by a young reporter named Sarah Maslin-Neer. Politico, which didn't exist a decade ago, now is expanding beyond Washington to states, and last month opened a bureau in Europe. Bloomberg News, which has the fortune of an enviable business model and its data and analytics terminal, which you're very familiar with here at Marist, has expanded beyond its core audience to start a political vertical site and a TV program. On the broadcast side, the PBS NewsHour, to pat ourselves on the back for just a moment, tries to tackle not only the most important stories, but also the ideas and the great debates of our time, and explain them in ways that make us think. Just one example, the interview I was lucky to be able to do recently with Dr. Ian Crozier, an Ebola survivor, who worked for the World Health Organization in Sierra Leone during the worst of the outbreak last year. He's recovering and doing magnificently. He's gone right back to work. Charlie Rose's show on PBS virtually every day offers fabulous interviews and insights with newsmakers from Syria's Hafez al-Assad to President Obama, to playwrights, to neuroscientists. A must-watch for me every day is Andrea Mitchell's show on MSNBC, the hardest working reporter in Washington. To be sure, the traditional business model is challenged, but when you look at Yahoo News with top-notch journalists like Katie Couric and Matt Bai, Ezra Klein's Vox, and new upstarts, the opportunities are expanding. And delivery platforms are expanding before our eyes. You know, it's a big deal that you get your news on an iPhone or a tablet, but I urge you to note the quality of that content is a bigger deal. You have much more information instantaneously available at your fingertips than your grandparents or your parents did. And you will need it in order to be good citizens. Demand that your favored news sources get it right and that they bring you the most important news, not just the scintillating latest on celebrity gossip and crime stories. Our democracy will stay strong only so long as we have a free and a robust news media. Support it. Be willing to spend a little to get it. Stay informed. My generation has left the world with some pretty big problems. It's up to you to keep on acquiring the knowledge, as President Murray said, keep on learning, uphold the standards, fight the good fight for a free press to help keep our country strong. Congratulations, and here's the truly senior journalist, Al.